Okay, so we get a lot of questions about possible tips for hosting exchange students, and my husband's here, so I figured he'd be good because he hosts also, so maybe he has some good tips I don't know about that he hasn't informed me of. So
just waiting for the video.
Okay, so tips on hosting exchange students. What's one of the first things you would tell people?
For a family to choose the student, I think, since you can't go by pictures, you have to just go by a description. I think first you would want to start with what country, what culture are you interested in learning more about and bringing into your house?
Yeah,
Didn't we pretty much start by looking at the countries, choosing what country we were interested in?
Yeah, that's how we got in Hiki, because we were interested about Brazil.
Yeah.
I think another thing that you have to consider is making sure that student's interests are the same as you and your family's. I mean, you don't want to get a kid that enjoys surfing and deep sea diving, and you don't live anywhere near an ocean.
Oklahoma.
So
yeah, you have to consider being able to accommodate some of their interests and making sure that their interests coincide with yours at least a little bit.
Right.
Well, obviously there's the technical aspects of if they're going to share a room with a brother or sister, they have to be of the same age and within.
They have to be within
the same
3 years.
Gender.
The same gender within 3 years of age of each other.
But if they have their own room, it's open.
Right. They do have to have a bed. They can't have an inflatable bed or a convertible bed. It has to be an actual bed.
And then I think we just found what country we were interested in and started reading the descriptions, seeing what they were interested in. The host letter, is that what it's called? Where they write where the student writes a letter to their prospective family. That really tells a lot about them, their personality. It's very informative. I recommend doing a lot of research on each of the kids, reading a lot about everything that they've written, and you'll eventually the one it'll click and you'll say that one, we want that one. That's happened with us.
Yeah. And I think as tips for just hosting, one thing you want to do is make sure that you've made the kid feel like part of the family. One of the things that we always give our students is our kids do chores, so the students get chores also, and we enforce those just like we do our children. I really haven't had a problem, especially this year. Tamuna is great, our exchange student from Georgia. She's great about cleaning, but she does a lot of cleaning at home, and we have to tell her a lot to quit cleaning. It's best to treat them just as they are your own child. That's what you want to do, not like they're a guest, because they do end up becoming part of your family. Even our exchange students that are back home now, we still keep in contact with, and we still consider them family. And I know, and the students will even tell you, treat us like we're your own child. In fact, Tamuna and Allie both have told me I need to punish them more and take away their electronics. So I don't know what I need to punish them for, but if I ever do, I have their permission to take away their electronics.
Wasn't it a lot of, we kind of had a kind of an introduction period. The very second day that they're here, we don't start giving them a list of chores and expect them to clean our house where they're not even feeling welcome or part of the family yet. But after a certain amount of time, Vlada said, give me chores,
yeah.
I want to be part of it. So
yeah, Tamuna did that the second day she was here. Tamuna said, what are my chores? And I was like, well, you've only been here a day, you don't have to start. And she was like, no, I want to start. So,
and we wrote a handbook about the basic house rules, expectations, things like that. And,
while we were in contact with them before they came over to America.
That's another big important thing.
Try to when you finally do pick a student and they've informed the student that they have a host family, you're then allowed to contact them and start communicating with them before they come over. And so that's what we did, is we came up with a household manual that explains everything that happens in our house, schedules that we may have with school and work and dinner and the chores that kids have. if we have a curfew for them, what time that curfew will be, and any rules that we may have set for the house. And that was one of the things that I sent over to both of our exchange students this year before they came here, so that they just kind of got a feeling of what was expected of them whenever they got here, and what to expect when they got here.
And it really helps to cut down on the kind of the awkwardness when you meet them at the airport. If you've already Skyped with them and talked with them a lot, they're somewhat. It's a lot easier of an introduction when you meet them at the airport. First of all, they recognize you, know that you are who you are. Well, we bring a sign too. It's pretty obvious when we go and meet our exchange student at the airport. But it just cuts down on that awkwardness of, okay, here they are. We're waiting for their bags at the baggage claim. We
have things to talk about. You're not just sitting there in silence. And Hiki, who was our first exchange student, I absolutely loved him. But yeah, our first meeting was very awkward because we picked him 2 weeks before school started. I only got to speak with him through email, I think 3 times. So when we picked him up at the airport, I was very excited to see him, and I ran and gave him a hug, which I could tell then made him very, very awkward, nervousness. But yeah, we just kind of stood around, and then they lost his luggage. But
so we went out to the restaurant, and that was kind of a
it was kind of
good time
awkward
to start some conversation.
Yeah, it was awkward at first, but because we had spoken with Tamuna especially for so long before she arrived. I mean, the second she got off the airplane and she saw us, she came running down the aisle and grabbed me in a bear hug. I mean, it was.
If only we could insert in the video like
little pictures of
If we get better at videos, we'll learn how to do that. But it was funny.
Yeah, it was cute. It was cute.
We'll put it right here.
Tips on if you have problems. If you do run into small problems or even big problems, we've never had a big problem. But if you do run into problems with your exchange student, that your rep of the program is there to help. At any time, you can call your rep. You can explain what the issue is and ask for their help. That's what reps are there for. But I have to say we haven't had any issues that we need to call and complain about. We've had a really good experience with all of our exchange students. So, I know there's the thing, and I've explained to people before, there's going to be exchange students that you just click with. You'll click with them even before they get here, and that happens a lot with us when we're choosing exchange students. There's just one that stands out to us where we're like, this one would definitely fit into the family. But you'll have some that you click with and it's a great experience. You may have some and it's not your fault, it's not the exchange student's fault, but you just don't have the connection like you did with a previous exchange student. But you still have a good learning experience with it. They have a good learning experience with it. I would say if you have that experience, don't give up.
Right, if your first exchange student.
Right. Continue to host, because these are experiences, and my kids will tell you. Aaron's standing over there behind the video. Aaron, turn around and say hi.
Very well done.
He's really enjoyed the last 30 years of meeting the exchange students and having them part of his family, and it's inspired him enough that he wants to become an exchange student this year. He wants to go to Italy. But
I think he just wants to go to Italy.
Yeah, that might be it too. But then we have on the opposite end, and we went through this ourselves with Hinky. On the opposite end, you have such a great experience with your exchange student, you worry about hosting the next year, because you're like, how could anyone be as great as this kid? And we can't imagine it ever being as wonderful as this is, and we don't want to replace them. And you have to think it's not replacing them. You're always going to have a bond with that exchange student, because you guys have become family. And you're actually, it's easiest to tell your student, I want to host again because I had such a great experience with you. I want to be able to give that experience to another student. It's not a reason to quit. We struggled with that at first, but we went ahead and we pushed through it, and that's when we got Vlada from Russia. We went ahead and hosted again. Now we're on our 3rd year with, this time, 2 exchange students, one from Georgia, one from Saudi Arabia. And it's an amazing experience. But yeah, other tips.
What was the main
It's
topic
just
we were trying to
tips,
cover?
tips for hosting.
For hosting.
Yeah, tips you would give other families if they wanted to host. I would say, definitely be prepared for different things in cultures.
Oh, and also take a look up into the culture of the. If you're not really familiar with the culture of the country where they're coming from, be informed about that. Certain things are not considered rude here, but they're considered rude in their culture.
Right.
If you don't know that, you may misperceive your student's behavior as being unfriendly or rude or something like that, and that's just what's expected in where they come from. So I would say definitely be informed and
right.
you know.
I mean, one of the things that we're learning about, and we actually have some friends from Iraq and things like that are Muslim, but now that we have Ali, who's our Saudi Arabian student, who's Muslim living with us, we've learned a lot more about the Muslim culture than we did just from having friends that are Muslim. Definitely learned about...
They don't eat bacon?
Yeah, well, I knew that.
That's the one thing on Facebook
but,
that's actually true.
Right, yeah, they don't eat bacon.
They don't eat bacon.
Yeah, they don't eat pork at all. But, learning about the hijab and learning about halal meat. Learning about their praying.
Yeah, if you're gonna get someone from Iraq or Saudi Arabia, somebody that's Muslim, definitely see how far it is in your area to go. If they're strict enough that they eat the halal food, which is it's blessed.
It's blessed
harvested
food.
in a certain manner. It's similar to kosher food for strict Jewish people.
Yes.
Find out, because we have to go 40 miles south or 90 miles to the northeast to get a store, but we go and we buy a bunch of meat, put it in the freezer. Right. So just take a look into that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things.
Yeah. But I definitely, I don't want anybody to I don't want that to scare them off, because it has been an eye-opening experience for us, and I mean, we absolutely love Allie. Mm-hmm. She's a great girl, but it's very interesting to learn about other cultures, other religions. And I think it's better.
Break some of the stereotypes.
Yes.
That people
have. For those people, I know there's been a thing going on Facebook about, those Muslims, they don't like bacon, they don't like Jesus, they don't like dogs.
Or beer.
Yes, they don't drink liquor because it's bad for your body. They don't eat bacon because Jews don't eat bacon either.
They don't hate Jesus.
They don't hate Jesus, actually.
He's in their book.
He is one of their best prophets. They follow a lot of Jesus' teachings. And as for dogs, it's not that they hate dogs. They just have no dogs in Saudi Arabia. The only people in Saudi Arabia with dogs are the military.
It's too hot over there for dogs.
Yeah, dogs would die. It would die. Right. Definitely learn, if you're going to choose a country, make sure that you understand some of the culture or the religious aspects of that country before you decide to bring a student, because you don't want to bring one that you're sure that you're not going to agree with, but if you're still interested in it, you don't want to mistake what they consider, I don't know what you would call it, but you don't want to mistake how they're reacting as being rude or anything when they're not. It's just the way that they are in that culture.
I would say if you're a big meat-eating family, think really hard about hosting a vegetarian.
Right, and that's one of the things.
If you're not able to reasonably accommodate their dietary needs, don't.
And that's one of the things on the application. It will ask you: are you vegetarian, or would you object to hosting a vegetarian? Because some students are vegetarian, and you can make that decision. It'll ask you if you're going to require that your student go to church with you. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't require our students to go to church, but not that they want to be willing. I mean, they've gone to church with other people in town, so it's not that they want to be willing, but we don't make them do it.
Mm-hmm. Or keep them from
But if you go to church regularly and you want your student to do that, then yes, you can put on your application that yes, I will require that they go to church with us, and that way the student's prepared and knows that okay, I will be going to church.
But just realize that might be an uncomfortable point with the student, so just kind of know that you know.
Well, yeah, that's why it's better that they're prepared before they come over so that they know what they will be doing. I don't know what other tips. Definitely put down your house rules to the kids. They don't want to be shocked later and go and do something and get in trouble for it, and they didn't realize that they were breaking a rule to begin with.
In the first day or two, just be very accommodating. They may have been on plane flights for hours and hours and had no sleep, and they may not want to sit down and start talking about their country and their trip and all of that. You just want to point them to their room and show them where everything is and let them take a nap or sleep or talk to them the next day.
Right.
So don't expect, to sit down and start getting right into it, because they may want to
be very tired.
Acclimate to the house and take a rest.
Yeah, Allie was in the air for, traveling. She was 3 days, 3 days of traveling. Tamuna was like, I think a day and a half, something like that. Yeah, so they're very tired when they first arrive, and that's why learning experience for us, because we had never hosted before with Nhiki, but we learned after him that the first day they may just want to go to their rooms and go to sleep, and it's not that they're being rude to you, they're just tired. Right. One of the greatest things that we've noticed, and we never expect it, but one of the greatest things that we've noticed about all the exchange students that we get is they bring gifts from their other countries.
Right. So and we've also then decided to have somewhat of a welcome basket or gifts for them.
Right. Because we have received some amazing things from countries. And he brought from Brazil. He brought chocolates and he brought
send some more, please.
Yeah. Yeah. He brought Tana a Brazilian scarf shaping the flag. He brought things for the boys. It was really good. Vlada brought. Oh my goodness! She brought the nesting dolls from Russia. She brought all sorts of
authentic bottle of
vodka. Yeah,
vodka.
Yeah. She brought beautiful stuff. She brought me a teapot. Oh my God, it was beautiful. Allie brought us things from Saudi Arabia, and then from the country Georgia, which most people don't even know exists. Tamuna brought us some wonderful gifts from there.
But as far as food type items, a lot of if it's store-bought packages of chocolate and whatnot, that's fine. But Tamuna had brought us some homemade candies of some sort that got taken in customs.
Germany.
So if it's not packaged or store-bought, customs may take it. Right. So just be careful about that.
But and like I said, I don't know if every student does it, but the last 3 years, all of our students have done it, and it's just a very nice surprise. It's not one that we expect, but I do love. Allie actually brought Eric the scarf, the scarf that men wear in Saudi Arabia, which was very, very cool. So that's an amazing thing that I always enjoy.
We'll soon have a cabinet of.
We will. I need a cabinet.
Collectibles from around the world.
Yeah. And that's one of the things about hosting is you always have, when you host, you're always going to have a place to stay in whatever country you've hosted from.
Maybe that'll be your choice of country. Where do you want to visit?
Yeah, where do you want to visit?
Student from there, so then you have a free place to stay.
Right.
Years later when you go visit.
But,
and you still got us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're bringing home a monkey.
Yeah. But as for other tips, I'm not real sure. We're up for suggestions if you have questions.
Yeah, any questions.
We can definitely answer them all. I just made this video because I had a lot of friends that were like, you should give tips about hosting, and I'm not really sure what tips you want, but we don't mind sharing it. So
right.
I think that's it.
Right. Ask us questions. We'll be right here.
All right. Thank you.